In 2011, I quit my handsomely paid marketing consultancy job to do music full time. I had no contacts, I had no formal training, and no professional experience whatsoever. Jim, you're crazy, I hear you cry. And that's exactly what my mum said. But on the contrary, because 10 years later, I am still in the incredibly lucky position to be making music full time. And in this video, I want to share with you a few of the things which I think have been critical to my success, so that hopefully they might help you on your journey. Hi there, I'm Jim Hustert from Lark Music. So I come into contact with quite a lot of people who are at the beginning of their musical journey, so composers, producers, either through my internship program that I run or through the Sync Accelerator mentorship program that I run, both of which I will link to in the description below if you're interested. And a lot of the same questions come up about how do I make it, how do I succeed, how do I get into the industry? Now, we're talking about how you can succeed as a music producer or composer. And obviously success is very subjective. It means different things to different people. But I tried to distill it down into sort of like 6 points, like the 6 major points, the kind of learnings that I've had, which if I were to go back 10 years and meet my 30-year-old self and present these to me, hopefully they would help me get where I want to go quicker than I would otherwise. So let me dive in and talk you through what I think are this kind of 6 kind of key markers for success. Time. Time is so important. We live in an age where we kind of want instant gratification all the time. And in many areas of our lives, we get instant gratification. But unfortunately, forging a career in music as a composer, producer, or for that matter, any other industry, it takes time and dedication, and you can't rush that. There are no hacks. You can't plant a seed today and expect to come back tomorrow and find a tree. It takes time, it takes growth, it takes the right conditions, and it takes nurture. So nurture yourself and take time and allow yourself to go through the experiences. It takes time, so make sure you enjoy the journey. It's a cliche, but it's very true. Another thing that's helped me massively is letting go of the idea of making it. Making it kind of, for starters, doesn't really mean very much, and it's very sort of like it's a bit vague. But as someone who's sort of dedicated and passionate and focused, every time you set a goal, by the time that you reach that goal, you've kind of already set a new one. So it's a moving target. So the idea of making it doesn't really exist. But it's important to point out as well that as a producer or composer, you're a freelancer. And as a freelancer, we never really know where the next bit of work is going to come from. We're constantly hustling and out there trying to find out, where we can find work. Also within that is it may constantly change what you're doing. So I started out as a singer-songwriter, and then I kind of moved into becoming a musical director in theatre. And whilst that was fun, it wasn't quite right. So from that, I went into more writing stuff for TV. And from that, I went into doing more production music. And then I went into sort of producing artists. And then I've gone back to production music. And I still do lots of those things. But on that journey, I've discovered different roles within the industry. And I've started to realise where, A, my strengths lie, but also B, what I enjoy the most. So let go of the idea of making it and just sort of like be open to new experiences and learning anything you can about different areas of the industry. And again, I'm going back to enjoying the journey, but if you are enjoying the journey and you're conscious of what you enjoy, make sure you put your effort in there, but let go of that notion of making it. So the next element is critical listening. Now, obviously, critical listening is incredibly important when it comes to being a producer or composer, because it's your ability to listen to a piece of music and break it down and understand what's happening. So we're talking rhythmically, harmonically, melodically. But even from a production point of view, listening to reverbs, listening to, what compression effects have been used, etc., etc. However, critical listening in this instance, I'm talking about being able to listen to your own music. Listen to your own music and be critical of your own music and understand what you could do better or what's missing if you're comparing it with other tracks. So I listen to people that I admire or hold in high regard, and I go, okay, what are they doing that I'm not doing, and how can I improve the energy, the emotion, the feel, the writing of my music? So critical listening, being able to listen to your music and be really honest and open and critical about it, but also, be kind to yourself as well. So the next element is pursuit of excellence, not perfection. Perfection doesn't exist, okay? I'm a reformed perfectionist, and I can tell you from first-hand experience that pursuit of perfection is a thankless task. Nothing will ever be perfect. If we had infinite time and resources, we could continue working on a creative piece of work forever. We could continue tweaking the writing. We could continue tweaking the production. We could continue tweaking the mix forever. So we have to know when to leave it alone. If we're trying to attain perfection, we will never leave it alone. If we're trying to attain excellence or something which is as close to perfection as possible, that's a different story. And to that end, pursuit of perfection can actually be a problem because it can actually hold you back. If you're waiting till something's perfect before sending it off to a client or putting it out there into the public domain for people to listen to, that's an issue, because as creatives, we need to be prolific. We need to be putting music and work out there on a regular basis. So recognize that perfection doesn't exist and that you should be striving for excellence. It might seem like a small semantic difference, but actually from a psychological point of view and a mindset point of view, it's really important. So the next point, and it's one that's very close to my heart, is don't look for external validation. I feel that when I started out, I'd create a piece of music and I would look to get adulation or affirmation from other people that it was good before I would actually believe it was good. Whereas as a creative, we have to just have the confidence of our convictions that what we're doing is good and just feel confident that we're doing it. And we don't need third-party validation in order to feel comfortable and confident with what we're doing. Remember when I was a kid, I did a spelling test at school. I got a B. I was thrilled to bits with a B. It was great. And I rushed home to tell my parents. And I showed my mum, and my mum was, "Oh, amazing, well done." And I showed my dad, and he was like, "Why didn't you get an A?" And I think from that moment on, it created in me this need to get validation. I mean, it made me focused. It made me someone who always wants to get better at what I do, but for the wrong reasons, because I'm looking to get validation rather than just purely because I want to get better at what I do for my own reasons. So if you can recognize that in yourself, and you recognize that sometimes you rely on people's validation, or if somebody doesn't validate it, that you sort of question it, then try and sever that tie. Try and have the confidence of your convictions and know that what you're doing is great, irrespective of what other people think of it. So the final point, although I think I'm actually going to add a final point, so this is the penultimate point, is to be proactive. There is no more disempowering a way to live than sitting around waiting for something to happen. And I think a lot of people within the music industry are sitting around waiting for someone else to open the door for them. That hardly ever happens. You have to be out there. Nobody is as enthusiastic about you and your work as you are. So you are the best person to be out there ringing the bells, shouting from the rooftops about what you do. Get out there, meet people, put yourself about, not in a sexual sense, but in a musical sense. Look for opportunities, but also create opportunities, because for me personally, one of the greatest opportunities that I created for myself was getting onto the books of Universal Music. They didn't approach me. I went to them with something that I'd created for them, which I felt filled a hole within their catalogue. And off the back of that, I've become a regular writer for them. So be proactive. Make sure you are always doing something to try and further your career. And the final point, and this is one I just sort of thought of whilst doing this video, so this is kind of like an addendum, but is be prolific. Every time you write or produce a piece of music, you will take something that you learned from the piece before and apply it to the new piece. And this is an iterative process which happens with every track over time. And that's how we get better and better. So just be prolific, be creative, just have fun with it and write as much as possible. Some of it might be crap, that's fine. Some of it might be gold. That's the stuff that counts the most. But it's the process. In order to get the gold, you have to mine tons and tons of earth. So be prolific, get out there, write, and put it out there as quickly as possible. So there you go. I hope that was useful. Those are like the 6 or 7 things that I've kind of picked up over the last 10 years, which, as I say, if I was to be able to go back 10 years and speak to my younger self and show myself these 6 things, I think maybe that they would help me get to where I want to be quicker. Obviously, it doesn't work like that. That's been my journey. Those have been my learnings. And obviously, everyone's journey is different, so they might not be useful for everyone, but hopefully there are some little nuggets that you can take out of it. If you enjoyed it, then please hit the thumbs up, because that tells YouTube that the video is worth watching. And if you've got any questions or comments, then do hit me up in the section below, and I will get back to you. Also, again, the Sync Accelerator program, if you're interested, there'll be a link in the description below. And also, if you're interested in writing production music, then by all means, there's a link in the description below as how you can get involved with the library that I run in the US, and we're always on the lookout for new production music writers. I've been Jim Hustwit, keep making music. But also from a production point of view, you're kind of listening to reverbs or effects or compression styles. Compression styles, is that a thing? I don't think it's a thing.